Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the highlights, you've heard the rumors, but now it's time to get the real scoop. We pull back the curtain on the world of sports entertainment and give you the unfiltered truth. From the biggest pay-per-views to the latest shocking headlines, you're locked in for the ultimate wrestling discussion. This is Between the Ropes, only on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your host, Kristie Wilson.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Between the Ropes here on the Empty the Bench podcast network. I'm your host. I am Kristie. My name is Kristie Wilson. And yes, definitely going to be talking about him today. So let's take care of some business here. Oh, I got a comment. No, I don't actually. Sorry. All right. So I'm going to let you know. There is the ticker. Follow BTR, follow ATB, follow me, obviously. And, of course, you can follow this show at BTR, ETB on all social media platforms. And then go here. And if you want more awesome content, go to youtube.com/ETB network. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss on anything. We are halfway to those 4,000 watch hours. That way, when we get to that point, all kinds of awesome stuff can happen for this network. And we can come up with some really cool stuff. More cool stuff, actually. So check out shows like Forever Power 5, Press Row, Hitting for the Cycle, Noteworthy in the NCAA, good stuff like that. So let's get to the show, shall we? Absolutely. We will definitely do that. Here we go. Yes, this was last week, Elimination Chamber. And my God, it was wild. It was absolutely wild. I'm going to get to the winners, all four matches on the card. We're going to start with the Women's Royal Rumble. Winner of that would face Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's title at WrestleMania. And ironically, Rhea Ripley won that match. Very surprising if I'm being 100% honest. But, I think, and another topic kind of ties into Rhea versus Jade. I was definitely surprised as Raquel Rodriguez in the match was a rock star. I mean, heck, she even did a double elimination. It got even someone I know absolutely friggin' pissed. He was crashing out big time, and he knows who he is. Wink. He knows who he is. But no, overall, that women's match was a really good women's match. Like I said, Raquel Rodriguez, the rock star, and Rhea Ripley is your Women's Elimination Chamber winner. She will face Jade Cargill at WrestleMania in Vegas, baby. Now, the two title matches on the card, I mean, one I definitely expected, and the other has kind of resulted in something crazy happening. We're going to talk about the World Heavyweight Championship match, CM Punk versus Finn Balor. Really good match. No member of Judgment Day was there because Finn Balor made it clear on Raw. Look, I got to do this by myself. Now, does this mean that the beginning was at the beginning of the end for the Judgment Day? I don't honestly know. But we shall see as everything goes along. But the result is what I thought it would be. The man who came out to the iconic Chicago Bulls entrance, because this was at the United Center in Chicago, with the legendary, one of the greatest of all time, or GOATs of NBA announcing, Ray Clay, CM Punk. He retained. And that sets up him versus Roman. Now, I did predict Roman Reigns would be there, but he didn't show up in Chicago, but he did show up on Raw later. And I'm not going to get into the promo like Punk mentioning Roman's father, Sika Anawahi of the Wild Samoans. I'm going to leave that out because as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't get that personal. But that's now officially set in stone. Punk versus Roman Reigns, World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. Now, Punk's real-life wife, AJ Lee, went up against the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch. And wild and crazy, and I noticed some people were complaining about this match being sluggish. Look, AJ Lee has not had an individual one-on-one match in over a decade. She's been out for 11 years due to cervical spine issues. That was what resulted in her retiring anyway, and I'm sure the issues going on with Punk at the time, got to her as well, probably affected her mental health, that sort of thing, because that's her husband, she loves him, and all that. This was pretty interesting. Jessica Carr, the official, got involved, but the result is what it is. AJ Lee wins her first singles championship in over a decade. Women's Intercontinental title. I will get to AJ later, as I am now bestowing an honor upon her. And you'll find out what it is later. Men's Royal Rumble, or not Royal Rumble, Men's Elimination Chamber match. This, we know there was a lot of chaos going on. Jey Uso was originally supposed to be in this match. He got the crap beaten out of him and got taken out in an ambulance. So Logan Paul beat Jacob Fatu on SmackDown the day before Elimination Chamber to earn his spot. And look, Logan Paul did fine. But the hooded figure showed up. Super kicked him, curb stomped him. Cody Rhodes got the pin and eliminated Logan Paul, and it's who we thought it was. It was who we suspected it was. It was none other than Seth Rollins, and if you saw the look on Paul Heyman's face, that man was screaming bloody murder, pretty much. And it was hilarious, and I think I, like a lot of people out there who watch wrestling almost religiously, in a way, kind of figured that it was going to be Rollins because Rollins had every reason to go after the Vision. He started the faction. He was the one who got Paul Heyman involved, and they recruited Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to be a part of this. They get rid of Rollins in order to write him off because he had to recover from his shoulder injury and all that, and they bring in Austin Theory and Logan Paul. And I had a feeling that was going to result in disaster, and it did. So I'm certain. And if you saw Raw, yeah, Paul Heyman, it was his turn to get curb stomped. He did after he got hit in the back with a chair. I didn't think the wise man had it in him to take a bump like that. I didn't think he had it in him. Bravo, Mr. Heyman, bravo. But Men's Royal Rumble is the Viper, Randy Orton. Now, sure, he thought Drew McIntyre was going to be his opponent. Well, I think Nick Aldis threw a curveball into that, setting up the match last night on SmackDown, Cody versus Drew, WWE title on the line. And obviously for me wearing this shirt, by the way, Matt Props Hot Topic for having this available, or else I wouldn't have been able to get it. Cody is your WWE champion, and I understand with that storyline with Randy Orton, it's been there. It literally writes itself. Because if you remember the end of WrestleMania 40, when Cody is on the shoulders of some of the folks in the locker room, Randy Orton was looking at that belt. And I think that got fans excited and made them think, oh my God, are we going to get Orton versus Rhodes at some point along the line for the championship? It looks like we're going to get that unless some other shenanigans happen, which I don't know. I don't know about that, but we shall see, because it's definitely bound to get interesting. Definitely going to get interesting. All right, I'm going to get off this. Another event that is happening, and is happening tonight in I think a couple of hours or so, is this. Not Elimination Chamber, god damn it. No, it's Vengeance Day. NXT Vengeance Day happening. This, of course, a 5-match card. I'm going to review it, or preview it, and I'm going to give you my picks too. So we're going to start with one of the matches, of course, is the former Don, Tony D'Angelo, going up against Dark State's Dion Lennox. Now, Tony D made his return to NXT after being away for a while, and he has his sights set on annihilating Dark State, or as I call him, Shield off of Timu, because they suck. And this, of course, is going to be, I think it is a street fight. So it looks like it's going to be a street fight. So, no, it's not going to be a street fight. It's going to be a parking lot fight because you know that NXT parking lot is kind of bad shit goes down in the parking lot. So we'll do that. But I think Tony D'Angelo, I really honestly think he does need to get his revenge before moving on to whatever it is he wants. Does he want the NXT title at some point along the line? Once he's done with Dark State, we shall see about that. But picking between Tony D and Dion Lennox, I'm going to go Tony D'Angelo. I'm going to go Tony D'Angelo on that one. Another big match on this card, of course, is a straight fight. It's the Glamour, Blake Monroe versus Miss Parker. Jada Parker. These two going at each other. Jada Parker hit Blake Monroe with a hip toss or with a hip to the back or something like that, and threw her in, allowing Thea Hale to beat Blake Monroe in their speed tournament match. And, of course, Miss Parker kind of unleashed the woman from hell. But I'm sure, I know Blake Monroe wants to get her pound of flesh, and so does Jada Parker. And this is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty brutal. I don't think either one of them is going to be afraid to throw down. I think especially Blake Monroe, because if you watched her in AEW when she was Mariah May, one of her matches with Toni Storm and blood, it was bad. It was crazy. But it was a really good match. It was a really, really good match. That is one of the big things. But I'm going to go Miss Parker to beat Blake Monroe in a street fight. Now, another match has really got my attention. This is the Underground match. This is Lola Vice versus Kalani Jordan. These two have had a rivalry going on. And Kalani Jordan is the reason why Lola's hand is in a brace. But Miss Lola, who is the queen of the NXT Underground, has had, I think, 3 successful Underground matches, 3 victories in the Underground. I think, this is Lola's element. This is definitely Lola Vice's element. She does well in these sort of things because she has an MMA background, and I think she can fully utilize that to her advantage. Sure, Kalani Jordan's got her own athletic background of her own, but I don't know. This is way more than anything I think she can handle. But even though she probably handles it really, I think Kalani's going to give Lola a fight, but I'm picking Lola Vice to win the Underground match. Now, there's 2 title matches on this card. One title not on the line, the NXT Women's title, because Jacy Jayne's last two title defenses against Sol Ruca and Zarya didn't go according to plan. We had Zarya turn on Sol, costing her the match, and then Sol came back and did the Sol Snatcher on both Jacy and Zarya. So I think interim NXT GM Robert Stone's going to address that. He did say that on NXT. He is going to address that match. I'm thinking, if I had to take a guess, we're going to get a triple threat. Jacy versus Sol versus Zarya. NXT Women's title on the line at Stand and Deliver in St. Louis on April 4th. So we got that. Now the 2 title matches on this card. We have the Women's North American titles, Izzy Dame versus Tatum Paxley. I think Tatum has gotten into Izzy's head, and deservedly so, because, Tatum decided to do things her way, and Izzy made her pay for not listening to her, costing her the NXT Women's title, which I know a lot of people were upset about it. I've read the tweets and everything. But I think Tatum gets payback in this one. So this is a pretty easy pick for me between these two, which is I'm picking Tatum Paxley to be your new Women's North American champion. Last one is, of course, the NXT Championship. I wish my new shirt had come in, not this one, but with Joe Hendry. I wish I had it so I'd wear it during this, but no. I'm just playing around here. But Joe Hendry versus Ricky Saints, and this I think should be pretty easy. I got Joe Hendry retaining, and for all of you think it's going to be Ricky, I got this to say.
RELAX.
You heard Aaron Rodgers. You heard him. Relax. because my pick is Joe Hendry. And Ricky, by the way, hey, Ricky.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah. You're going to give Joe Hendry a fight, Ricky, but I don't think you're winning. I think Joe Hendry walks into NXT Stand and Deliver in April as the NXT champion, and we'll kind of see where this goes, but I got Joe Hendry retaining. And then I think Ricky Starks needs to go to the main roster because you know what? He's ready. He should definitely be going up there. But, excuse me, please. I'm sorry. But that is one thing. But that's Vengeance Day. That is coming on tonight. And it's something else that coming up. This is probably the last PLE for NXT on Peacock because we have this. I read this and I thought to myself, what in the name of God is going on here? Peacock, the WWE's NXT PLL media rights deal with Peacock is set to expire in about 10 or so days. Now, this has led to people basically talking about where do we go? Where do we go from this point forward? I mean, I'm curious about it in this sense. It kind of makes me wonder, do they do what WWE has done with the past WrestleMania library and everything before September 2025? Easy for me to say. I'm sorry. Put it on Netflix. I think that is possible. Because here's the thing from the tweet that I have in front of me. It says NBC Universal will continue to have Saturday night's main event through this year, which, okay, that's great. That's fine. At least they have that. But the NXT premium live events may end up moving to wherever if they don't renew with NBC Universal. So the announcement on these events will end should be coming shortly if they don't renew. And I'm kind of thinking they're just going to let it expire. And probably, like I said, I think a lot of people are suspecting Netflix. That may be that might be where it goes. So I don't know. I mentioned Elimination Chamber, and I mentioned Rhea Ripley is your women's Elimination Chamber winner. She's going to face Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. Yeah. There was get something done here. I'm sorry. Woo, Jesus. But this is one crazy thing. I didn't honestly suspect what happened, but I gotta thank Callum McClurk for sending me the Instagram link to this. This was crazy. And I was like, what? When he sent this to me, I was very surprised. Now, Rhea Ripley put out a tweet or something on her Instagram stories about having no friends. She made it clear. These two started going after each other on social media. Rhea Ripley put an Instagram story about breaking the fourth wall. And she admitted, it says here, following Cargill's accusations that Ripley spends hours complaining to WWE writers, Ripley states that the two are, quote, not friends, and warned the champion to never lie to defame someone's real human character by, quote, unquote, breaking the fourth wall. But that she ended up deleting that. But of course, the internet is forever, and people did end up getting screenshots of that. So I'm kind of surprised by that. And if you watched SmackDown last night, I think the tension between Rhea and Jade, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. I kind of got the feeling watching it that these two really did not want to be within 10 feet of each other. And it was tense. And, I definitely think Rhea is definitely going to be the professional in this situation. She's going to suck it up. She's going to do what she has to do. We're going to automatically make one WrestleMania prediction right now, at least in terms of this. Rhea Ripley is going to fuck Jade Cargill up at Mania and become a WWE Women's Champion. I'm sure that might or might not age well. I don't know. But we'll find out in April at Mania in Vegas. So that is definitely something that I wasn't expecting this, but it's shocking. This is definitely shocking. Now, I talked about AJ Styles going to the Hall of Fame. Well, another piece of Hall of Fame news came up. Oh, yes. If you remember Demolition, regardless of who the two guys were, Demolition, Axe, and Smash are going into the WWE Hall of Fame, joining, of course, AJ Styles and Stephanie McMahon. Only a matter of time before the rest of the class of 2026 is filled out. Axe and Smash were on a podcast, and the Undertaker popped in. And it wasn't just to say, hi guys, how you doing? It was besides saying, hi, how you doing? He let them know they're going into the Hall of Fame. And I think both guys, this was something I think that was long overdue for Demolition, because they've had success, tag team gold, that sort of thing. They're definitely a legendary tag team. They had a rivalry with the Hart Foundation, Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Bret the Hitman Hart. I mean, heck, it was crazy. So, definitely, I think if I had to pick, besides those who are going in already, Demolition, AJ Styles, Stephanie McMahon, I'm going to be very upset if Bray Wyatt is not posthumously inducted. I know I butchered that word. I'm saying posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame. I think he should be in there. I think he should be the next person to go in, and then we'll see about everything else. But honestly, these guys, Demolition, Axe, and Smash, have been waiting for their moment for a long, long time. And I'm really, really glad that they finally got it. So glad they got it. Now I'm going to go in another direction, since I've talked a lot of WWE so far in this episode. Yeah. At a recent press conference, Tony Khan announced that Jacksonville, Florida, where he and his family make their home, where the Jaguars are, where Daly's place is, and probably where AEW headquarters is located, is now the permanent home of Ring of Honor. It's been 4+ years since Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor, and I know everyone's going, he needs to have someone else handle the Ring of Honor side of things while he deals with the AEW side of things. That's easier said than done. And I know Ring of Honor has had his own share of screw-ups. Like right now, you have Athena still holding the fucking Ring of Honor Women's World title, which she needs to drop. Like, now? Now would be a good time. But I think I get where Tony Khan is coming from on this. Ring of Honor needs a permanent base of operations, and this is probably the best place that you can do it. It's kind of similar to what WWE has, with Orlando being main base of the Performance Center, being the main city for the Performance Center, and where NXT holds matches and things like that. I mean, I get where Tony Khan's coming from on that. Ring of Honor needs a permanent home, and I think Jacksonville is probably an ideal location. I mean, heck, I'd love to see Ring of Honor have its own little Ring of Honor arena in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm sure there is an empty warehouse somewhere in Jacksonville, Florida, where you can it can give it some TLC, make it look beautiful, put in a big ring, some stands. You know where I'm getting at here. And Callan, I was like, can we get Jade Cargill to defend her title, please? Trish, Lita, Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, so on and so forth, would never go this long without some kind of title defense. I agree with that, and he's talking about what I was referring to earlier. I'll put the comment back up for you folks. The only title defense, Callan, that Jade has had was ironically against Jordynne Grace. That was her big title defense. Whoopee. And she beat Jordynne Grace, and I feel bad because Jordynne Grace is a decorated is a veteran of the sport. She's won titles before, so it pisses me off, if I'm being 100% honest. So, I know Jade's got another title defense coming up on SmackDown. I don't remember who it's against, but yeah, I'm still gonna say Rhea Ripley, fuck Jade Cargill up, please. Okay, get back to what I'm talking about. Well, actually, I think I'm kind of done talking about this, but like I said, Tony Khan, Jacksonville is now the permanent home of Ring of Honor. Like I said, I'm sure there's a warehouse somewhere in Jacksonville, Florida, where you can fix it up, make it look spectacular, and turn it into the ROH arena, I guess. I mean, that'd be something. There's a possibility. Definitely think it's a possibility. Okay, next one. Yeah. The real life married couple and pro wrestlers Steph DeLander and her husband Mace Warner have quit TNA. Why, I don't know, but I think Steph DeLander dropped some hints as to why. She talked about having had a couple of neck surgeries. She had to pay for it because her health insurance had maxed out, and TNA's medical staff and stuff is not exactly up to snuff. And TNA also would not medically clear her to get back in the ring. I mean, Steph is not a bad wrestler. Her husband is pretty good too. And I'm sure this has led to people going, where do they go from here on out? I'm sure AEW would be a pretty good location, or if you want them to be in Ring, or if you want them to be in AEW, put them in Ring of Honor, I guess. I don't honestly know, but whether it's AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Major League Wrestling, I mean, geez, if they want to go together, if they're a package deal, they can go to Major League Wrestling, just like Killer Kross and his wife Scarlett have done. I mean, and those two are holding gold. So if it can happen for them, it can happen for Steph DeLander and Mace Warner. But the fact TNA wouldn't medically clear her after she had gotten the go-ahead from independent doctors saying, hey, go ahead, you're cleared, get back in the ring. And TNA said no. There's a lot of shit going down in that promotion, and I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. And I like Steph DeLander. I think she's cool. I really think she's cool, and I did like her. I do like her, so. But that's crazy. That is just absolutely crazy. But I got to do a little quick something here. And I'm not going to do a banner. I'm not going to put it up or anything like that. But I am going to, excuse me. I'm going to give a little bit. I'm going to call this Wrestler Redemption. Jacob Fatu, thank you. You redeemed yourself in my eyes, sir. Am I going to apologize for putting you in the Roast to Wrestler segment maybe a couple or so weeks ago? Nope. I don't regret doing that. So, Jacob Fatu, I think you redeemed yourself. And I'll get to the reason why after I do something. I said earlier in the show that I have bestowed an honor upon AJ Lee besides the Women's Intercontinental Championship that she won an Elimination Chamber. By the way, fuck you, Becky Lynch. You're crashing out again. You keep going at this rate, bitch. Next week, you're in the Roast to Wrestler segment for the third time, and you don't want that. Here we go. She is my Wrestler of the Week. She 3-time Divas champion, or I should say 3-time Women's champion, because every time, I'm sure not everyone looks back at the Diva era fondly, especially that belt that they had, which I've had someone call the tramp stamp belt because it's a butterfly. I have nothing against butterflies, but, I think AJ Lee definitely proves she's not like a lot of other wrestlers not a lot of the wrestlers who came around in the time period. She started winning championships, and I mean, she cut her version of a pipe bomb promo on the women of the show Total Divas, and she definitely was not what you would call a diva. She didn't fit that mold, and you know what? People like the fact she doesn't fit that mold. I mean, for a woman to bravely wear Chuck Taylor Converse sneakers in the ring with jean shorts and a cutoff t-shirt with a rib cage on the front or something like that, I'm telling you, she definitely made herself stand out, and she deserves mad credit for that. She definitely showed, and she has athletic ability. Her Black Widow submission, when done right, I think it can be pretty damn painful, which is why I wouldn't want her doing it to me. I wouldn't want her doing it to me. But WWE gave her opportunities I wish she would get opportunities, like maybe should she have main event WrestleMania? I would have loved to have seen that for her. She's had great rivalries with the Bella Twins. She had a really good rivalry with Saraya Paige. We know the story. Paige showed up Raw after WrestleMania 30, and AJ put the title on the line. Paige beat her. When AJ came back, she beat Paige for the title. So they've been tag team partners, they've been rivals, and I'm sure in real life there's a great deal of respect. And AJ did unfortunately step away in 2015 due to cervical issues, and I'm sure she has openly admitted to having bipolar disorder. Probably everything had her mental health, I think, was really badly affected. So she stepped away she was away for 10 years. Came back this past September in support of her husband, CM Punk. And they teamed up to go up against another real-life married couple, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, at WrestlePalooza. And I think that is what's kind of initiated the rivalry between AJ and Becky, probably due to the personal disdain their individual husbands have for each other. I don't know how these two, I'm going to call them by their government names, Rebecca Quinn and April Mendez, feel about each other as people. Because they know their husbands don't like each other. I don't know if these two like each other, but you never know. But AJ, she had the match at WrestlePalooza. Was it great? Not really, but I'm glad she and Punk won. She then joins Team Rhea at Survivor Series War Games in San Diego. And the funny moment, she tried to give Io the trash can, and Rhea Ripley had to help her get up to get it to Io, which was just hilarious, and I loved it. And now she's the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Becky is crashing out, of course, but I think the right person won the belt. Is AJ going to retain a WrestleMania? God, I hope so, because I want to see AJ go up against some of the other talent in the company, because I'm sure it would be a lot of fun for her to do that. And maybe put over other talent. Like she could put over Maxine Dupree. She could put over Tiffany Stratton. She could put over, I think AJ Lee could put over anybody, but AJ, ma'am, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for beating Becky. And, I wish her best of luck at WrestleMania. There you go. Now this next segment, I am honestly, last night's SmackDown ties into all this. By the way, I got to give a shout out to the 87 people watching. Hi, everybody. Hello. I hope all of you are enjoying the show, because I'm going to get to the good part of all this. Yeah. Yes. Drew McIntyre, you dumbass motherfucker. You were in the Roast to Wrestler segment. I've been waiting to do this for a damn long time, practically almost since the first episode of the show back in August. I've wanted to roast you. I almost did. I had to switch you out because someone else decided to fucking pretty much mess with me in some respects. Oh, but you, McIntyre, you have been a naughty boy. Let me get to the point. Let me get to this here. Yes, we know you were a young up-and-coming talent. Vince McMahon named you the chosen one. You didn't quite live up to it. You tried to. And you ended up getting fired, but like the man who beat you on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes, it took you getting fired to get yourself on track in your wrestling career. You left. You got fired from WWE, and then you decided to rebuild yourself back up, even competing in TNA under your actual name, which is Drew Galloway, and having success there, having success in other companies, independent promotions, that sort of thing. You dealt with health issues, like you had a neck injury at one point. And you finally come back. Smartest thing that WWE ever did when you came back was put you in NXT. You are a former NXT champion. You worked your way up to the main roster. You've won tag team gold. You are a Grand Slam champion. You win the WWE title at WrestleMania, the one when the world had stopped. No crowd, nothing. You beat Brock Lesnar. That should have been a moment in front of a big crowd of people losing their minds. It didn't happen that way. It really did not happen that way. And you defended the title against various people, including this year's Elimination Chamber winner, Randy Orton. You guys' ambulance match was probably one of my favorite matches from Clash of Champions. Excuse me. But lately, you've been kind of coming across as kind of a dick. I mean, 2024, you start poking the bear. You poked the bear known as CM Punk, and you ended up ultimately paying the price. You beat Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, only to get cashed in on 5 minutes later by Damian Priest. And I bet that was friggin' embarrassing for you, jackass. So, should have just walked right up the ramp with the belt, posed with it, and went on your merry way. But no, you had to keep going. You had to keep being an asshole. And now you start this feud with Cody Rhodes, who was the champion. He got his belt back, by the way. You win the 3 Stages of Hell match. Become the champion, ironically, in Germany, of all places. Come on now. Then you go beside, you tell him, oh, by the way, you don't get a rematch. I made sure to put that in the contract. You nasty motherfucker. So you cost Cody at Royal Rumble. You cost Cody at Elimination Chamber. Result, you pissed off Nick Aldis just enough. He schedules a world title match on SmackDown last night, which, by the way, why I'm wearing this damn thing in the first place. You got beat. And I redeemed Jacob Fatu when he pulled the chair out of your hands. And now you're not the champion anymore. Yeah. You're not the champ anymore, buddy boy. No, you're not. So you could take your arrogance, your stupid kilts, and you can go fuck yourself. As far as I'm concerned, should Cody have had the belt taken off of him? In my opinion, no. But everyone else said, "Oh, give Drew a chance. Give Drew a chance." I'm done giving Drew chances. I would rather. Here's what I would like to see happen to you, Drew McIntyre. If you want to go to WrestleMania that bad, and I have a feeling you do, I got a perfect opponent for you. I'm sure you're going to be pissed off at him. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some segment footage from Friday night after you lose to Cody. Like, what do you do? Did you get in Nick Aldis's face? Sir, if you do that, you have awoken the national treasure. Watch All In 2018. You'll know what I'm talking about. That was Nick Aldis's nickname when he went up against Cody Rhodes for the NWA World Championship at All In 2018, which, by the way, that should be the subject of a Benchmarks episode, how a 2018 indie show started a brand new promotion. What did I get? Okay. I'd love Drew versus Aldis. That would be great. But you know what? Drew versus Jacob Fatu would be great too. Because, as you know, Jacob's the one who pulled the chair out of Drew McIntyre's hands. So that was something. But yeah, Drew. Good luck. That's all I really have to say about that. Good luck. Good luck, asshole. All right. Oh my God. I gotta get back up here. But that's it for today's show. I'm sorry. There we go. There's your ticker. Yes. Follow everything. ETB. Me. The show. There it is. Follow the show on all social media platforms at BTRETB. And of course, we are halfway to 4,000 watch hours, so we can do more cool, more amazing, more awesome stuff. So go to youtube.com/ETB network. Check out our content. Check out everything. Remember, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a damn thing. What comment did I get this time? Yes. Thank you, KB. Thank you. It's a good idea for a show. 2018 indie show changed wrestling as we know it. And I'm going to suggest it actually to the fearless leader of this network so that maybe that might be something. You might hear me narrate it. Check out Spotify or wherever you like to listen to your podcast for Benchmarks, because there's more episodes coming out, including 2 that I've already done about Owen Hart and Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, the ending of the streak. So check that out. Those 2 episodes I narrated will be coming out soon. So anyway, thank you to the 86 people who watched the show. Thank you, Callan and KB, for the comments. And I'll see you folks next week with a new episode of Between the Ropes. Later!